Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Idaho Business Podcast. Excited to be with you again this week. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hope you're able to recharge your batteries and focus on the things that you really need to focus on, which hopefully was your loved ones, and spend some time with some friends and just enjoying yourself. All right. As always, we're sponsored by Health West. Great organization, great people to work with. Google them where they're closest to you to see what they can do for you and your family. We're also sponsored by New Clean Commercial Cleaning and Commercial Cleaning Services. If they can help you with any of your commercial cleaning needs, give us a call at 208-254-7070. And there'll be something special, some free offer that we'll give to you that'll be unique to you just for mentioning that you heard about us on the podcast. All right, everyone. This last week, with any business, you have hiring needs, you have firing needs. So I figured I'd talk about, hiring slow and firing fast. It's a term that many of you have probably heard, but let's talk about it. Let's dive into it today, because it's something I've been coached on over the years, and it's something I've really put into practice, especially in the last year and a half, even more, especially with my higher up admin, and also just all throughout my company. So what happens when you hire someone new? Say it's your office manager. Okay, how do you know that they're doing a good job, or how do you know they're not doing a good job? Well, that all goes back to, number one, how descriptive were you and detailed were you when you were putting together the job posting? Are you giving clear expectations and clear job descriptions, defining the skills and attributes that are being required for a long-term success pattern within your company? And if not, how are you deciding if this person's good or not? So that's what number one is. You need to have a sheet that you put together where you say, okay, what are the rules to the job? Well, in my company, or my companies, the rules are just my core values. The rules are have fun, be honest, work together, and make money. Don't disobey those rules. We're also trying to hire people that will fit those values. So it's going to be an easier fit all the way around. And then next on the list is objectives. Not objectives or outcomes. You can say outcomes. What outcomes do you want this person to have for this position? Okay. For the office manager, okay. Maybe one of the outcomes is, hitting some type of clerical goal every day or every week. Maybe it's a hiring goal every week or every month. And then you can say, hey, this needs to be hit at this percentage of the time, or do you expect it to be hit 100% of the time? You set at reasonable goals for them to achieve. Because if you're not achieving them yet, and you're working your butt out at them, you can't maybe start off by saying 100% all the time. It has to be this way, because you gotta give them some a degree of error, because we're all going to make mistakes, right? Of course we are, especially as we're just beginning. Okay, So you write all those down for your outcomes that you want them to achieve for throughout this position. And there might be 10 lines of outcomes. And then you put your compensation in the middle. You spell out the compensation, what the compensation is for this role, the range of it, whatever you want it to be, spell it out, your benefits, all that kind of stuff. And underneath it is you can put down like ways to achieve these objectives, or just tips that you have learned throughout your years of doing it, or your current manager who maybe is leaving you has given you to be successful in achieving these outcomes. Put those down. And don't be too descriptive, but enough to help them. And if there's some hyperlinks that you can put in there to some documents or some sheets that they can look at and really review, put that in there. I like Google Docs, Google Sheets, all that kind of stuff is really great for this type of thing. And then if you hire the right person, you don't need to have to say, now, to do this, you have to open Word documents, you have to do this, you have to indent, you don't have to do all that. If it's the right person and they have the right training you need, there's going to be some tips and tricks that you're going to teach them, but they're going to figure it out. They're going to ask intelligent questions and they're going to want to learn quickly. The people who aren't going to be a fit are the ones you see just bounding around the office, maybe being, they're obviously you want them to be social because if they're managing the office, you want them to, have a good rapport with everyone in the office. But maybe that's all they're doing. Maybe they're not getting down to the nitty gritty, the stuff they really should be doing. And you see that become a pattern. Obviously, their first couple of days is going to be, hey, let's meet everyone so I can build rapport with all these people. So don't judge them on their first couple of days because maybe they do it differently than you do. Because maybe it's going to be a lot better than what you do. And I've experienced that in different roles that we've hired for. It's different than how I do it, but they're better at it than I am. So you have that to go from, and then after that, you can sit down with them after a couple of weeks. You can sit down with that objectives and that rules to the job and say, hey, how are things going? And you can go down the list, do you have questions on anything? How are these different outcomes? How are they coming along? And then you can just be honest and have an upfront conversation with these people. And I feel like people that are going to be successful are going to tell you, hey, I'm being very successful in these areas. This area, hey, I've got a couple questions here. What else can I do? Blah, 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 blah. The ones that are going to be unsuccessful are going to be asking or complaining and are going to be finding excuses why certain things aren't done, even small things, simple things aren't done. And you need to really pay attention to that kind of stuff. If it's a service industry job, you're hiring waiters or construction people or cleaners like we do. What we do, we bring them through, because we're hiring slow, right? We bring them through a series of interviews. The first is a group interview. Second is a one-on-one interview. The third is a 2-week working interview. They're still getting paid. They're still getting trained like normal. But after 2 weeks, we talk to their trainers. We talk to the people that are working around them. And we say, hey, is this person a fit? And we talk to them. Hey, is this going to work for you? Is this job a fit for you? If it's not, and it's not a fit for them, and it's not a fit for us, it's not a big deal. We'll cut them a check and we'll shake hands. We'll part as friends. If it is a fit, then great. We'll just continue on and we'll continue to answer their questions and continue to train them on all the things that they need training on. But the meat and potatoes of it all should be handled all within of the training should be handled within those 2 weeks, because the stuff that they're doing is very repetitive and it can be trained within 2 weeks. Now, the things that we look at for those type service jobs, and this is probably across the board, if you're hiring waiters or contractor laborers or anything, do you see them on their phones in the corners? Are you trying to evade work? Are they sitting down? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Facebook? Whatever they are, they're Snapchatting. If you see that happening, honestly, and you've talked to them about it, and you see it happening again, for us, it's kind of a big red flag, because after you've talked to them about it and they know where you really stand, and even though your documentation, when you bring them on, it talks to them about that, so it's kind of an orange flag already. But then you see them do it, and then you confront them about it, and then you see them do it again. That's a huge red flag. Number one, you can tell right now by their actions, there's going to be no respect, and there's probably not going to be any change going forward. They're most likely going to continue to do this when you're not around, but not anymore when you are around. But when the boss is gone, they'll do whatever they want because they've shown their cards. So you have to look for that type of behavior across the board in any position that you're hiring for. And I think you have those telltale signs in every position that you're hiring for, because you probably hired for these positions over and over again. But you have to be ready to say, you know what, it's not a fit. We've had people that make it through that 2-week period, and you're like, I think they're going to be great. And all of a sudden you're like, holy smokes, this is a complete different person a month later. No, you just got to say, hey, it's not a fit. Here's your last check. We'll see you. Best luck in the future. And that's the thing. Like, you have to put your best foot forward. In the service industry, your best foot forward is hiring the good people. They are the image of your company out in the field. And if they're doing dumb stuff, making you look bad, your company name look bad, it's just going to get worse for you. So same thing applies across the board. If it's a customer relations position, anywhere, you have to watch what they're doing and do some audits and see, how is this a fit? And if it's a fit, great, keep them going. But if it's not, you got to be willing to say, let's part ways. Even though there's going to be a vacancy in that spot, and you need the people to keep your company running. I'm telling you, having a warm body there is going to do a lot more damage than taking a little bit more time, a month or two out of your time to find a few more people. And maybe honestly, you're giving a few people a chance at one position, and you can do it different ways. You can have a few people training and say, hey, after this training, we're going to decide who's doing it the best. So it really depends on what positions you're hiring for. But there's so many different ways to do it, but you just got to be willing to pull the plug. You have to be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations and say, hey, it's not working. And I promise you, when it does work and you do find those unique people, which they're still out there, don't say that, no one knows how to work anymore. No, there's still some great people out there. We have some great people working for our organizations. And I'm happy every time I get to see them, because we have some great people. But the ones that, that just don't make that mark, you got to quickly get rid of, because what happens is they start to bring the morale of the whole company down, and they start chasing away your talented employees and your talented individuals away from your company. And then you lose real good talent because of your inability to have uncomfortable conversations. So hire slow, fire fast. Find ways to just say, instead of having just one interview and say, hey, you're hired. No, do some different things, man, or gal. Make things a little bit slower. Make them go through a few more steps to get on with your company. They call it blood in, blood out. If you make it a little harder to get in, for them, it's going to make it harder for them to want to get out. So think of those things. It's really helped our organizations. We do a lot, in the service industries, and for us, it's really helped because you're literally all hiring out of the same talent pools, but you really are. If you find the people that are sharing your values, your core values we've talked about, and can make it through that training, and you see the work ethic, I promise you're going to find some great, unique people in there that are really going to help bring your companies to the next level. So go enjoy your week, be happy, be grateful, and go out, find opportunities to serve others. Adios, people. See ya.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.